Okay, hello and welcome to another tutorial on Onshape. Today we're going to learn how to create a drawing based on an assembly or some parts from our part studio. So what this is really helpful for is for when you're making actual plans. Once you've made your job virtually, you might want to plan to make your job with real timber and you want some plans, some drawings to go off of. So let's go ahead and open up the drawing area. So we're going to insert a new element here. So down the bottom of the bottom left here, there's a little plus symbol. I'm going to click there and we're going to say create a drawing. Okay. Now you do need to make sure that millimeters, the ANSI dash underscore A underscore MM, it does need to be MM at the end. It needs to be millimeters. So you might have an option there that says INCH, that's inches, but you want millimeters. And we're going to select no views at the moment, and we're going to hit OK. We're going to insert those views ourselves. Okay, so it's just loading up now. All right, so we've got a blank sheet. Now, I'm actually going to start with a picture of my assembly. So instead of my part studio here, I'm going to go to my assemblies instead. I'm going to get a picture of my assembly. And for my assembly, I kind of want to be looking at a front view. At the moment, this is the front. It says front here, but we're actually seeing the end of it. So you might need to go, say, top. Okay, so that looks about right, but it's a bit small on the page. So I'm going to change the view scale from a 1 to 8 scale to a 1 to 5 scale. That's better. Okay. And we've just clicked down now. I've clicked down on the screen and I might actually get... Okay, so once I've placed one down, quite often what you'll see is that you get this option to do a secondary view. And you'll see once I've placed that one down, it's kind of orange sort of colored. And as if I move to the right, you get a right side view. If I move to the left, you get the left side view. If I move up to the top, you get a top view. But if I move to sort of diagonal, you get a 3D view. That's the one I'm actually going to do as well. So I'm going to place that one down here. Okay, and you can see that that's projected view. That's the button that you use to actually get that. So if I want a projected view of this item from a different angle, I click on that button first, click on that item, and then I move it to the side that I want. Okay, and it will automatically go to that. They generally want you to put like 2 views of each part on here. Sometimes you won't want 2 views, but for this one I do. I'm just going to hit escape now to deselect that, and then I'm going to move this one over to the side so I can fit, so I can fit this one next to it. Okay, so I've got my 3D view here, my front view here. Now my 3D view, I actually don't want this with any measurements on it. It's really just to visualize what it looks like. But I do want some measurements on this one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to my measuring tool, dimension tool again. So I'm going to click here. And we're going to click again. It's the same as when we were doing a sketch. From one point to another point, I want to know that measurement. Okay, so from this point to this point, I want to know that measurement. Clicking again, I want to know how wide these things are. And generally, a rule of thumb is that you will want to put as many measurements on the board, on your page as you will need, just at least once. Okay, so the fact that I've done this 65mm measurement, I can actually bring that 65 to be outside those lines there. I don't really need to show this one to be 65 because you can obviously tell that it's the same thickness as this piece here. So showing that once is plenty. I'm also going to go back to my dimension tool. I'm going to need to show the difference in the bottom piece because it is taller, so it's 130. And it might be worth also showing the thickness of the shelf because that again, it'll show, that's a good one there. That'll show the thickness of your material there. Okay, now from those sides, I think I've got more or less all the information I need to be able to measure this out. I might actually put the inside to inside measurement for that bottom piece. Let's put that one on there as well. Okay, so they're all my measurements. Now that's for an assembly, but I'm actually I want to show all the parts individually as well. So let's go down here to this little sheets thing on the side. Let's click on this and you can see I've got sheet 1, assembly, top and an isometric view. So that's my top view, that's my isometric view. But if I go up here, I can click on this little insert sheet. I can add an extra sheet. So I can add a second sheet. And on my second sheet, I'm going to insert the view of just some of my I'm going to insert some of my parts. So I'm going to insert a top part, and I want a top view of the top part, and let's make it again the same scale as before, 1 to 5. There's my top part. Okay, now I don't think I need a secondary view of that. You can probably see a side view, but it's not really going to be very much helpful to you. I'm going to insert another part now. Let's insert my side as a top view. Okay. And let's insert a bottom piece as a top view, like so. And we'll get a shelf as a top view. Let's put the shelf down here. I just need a bit of space around each part so that I can add in all the measurements. And let's insert a corner block as, again, a top view. And you know what? I'm going to make this one a bit bigger. Okay. Okay, so you notice this one has a different scale to the rest of the sheet. You can see down the bottom here, the whole sheet has a scale of 1 to 5, but this one here has a scale of 1 to 3, so that's why they've written it separately next to it as well. I'm going to hit escape now to get rid of my projected views, because I only really want the top view for these. I think the top view is plenty to show all the different measurements that are needed. Okay, all right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to actually label these parts. So I'm going to add a note here. I'm going to put this note above this one. I'm just going to call each part, I'm just going to name each part. So that's the top piece, tick. I'm going to add a note here. That's the bottom, tick. This is a side, and I'm actually going to have 2 sides. So I'm going to write on this note, side times 2. Okay. I'm going to put a note here, corner brace, and I'm going to put a note here for a shelf. Okay, got all my notes. Now, just like before, I want some measurements on here, so I'm going to show the width and the length of this part. I'm going to show the length from top side to top, from long point to long point, and the width, 65. I'm going to show the width of this part, 130, and the length, 38. Okay, I'm going to show the length of my shelf, 490, and from the width of my shelf. And I'm also going to show this little round here. So this is a radius 10 round. Okay, I'm going to put that there just where it's easy to see. I'm going to also put an angle here. So from this line to this line, I'm going to say that is 45. Whoop. Try that again. So I'm actually going to put a dimension in from here, this one to this one. It's 45. And from this one to this one is 45. Okay, and I don't need to really do the other one because you can kind of tell that they're the same. So I think clarity is what you're going for here at all times. And like I said, I think there's enough clarity in that. That measurement is a little bit not clear to me. There you go. That's a bit better. Okay, now let's put the measurements on this brace. I want to know the length. I want to know the width. I'm going to just move my note over here and put that over there. And I want to know this round this round. Okay, so you can kind of tell this one is the same as that one, so I only really need to show that once and that one once. Okay, so now I think I've shown all my parts on the page. Try and keep my note really close to each part so there's no confusion as to what part it's referring to, and give enough space between each one so that there's no confusion there. What measurement applies to what. Okay, so I've given it enough space now. Sometimes as well you can actually put these notes on the actual piece. Okay, so that can be helpful too. So if there's lots of room on the actual piece, you can put it on the piece. This one that says side, we can actually, I think we can actually rotate that. Whoops. Okay, pop it in there. All right, there's all our parts. So now on our two sheets, we can actually have this as a double-sided piece of paper. On the front, if I go to sheet 1, I can show you my view of all the parts put together, and then on the sheet 2, on the back, I can show you all the parts individually, and it shows how many of them they need. Okay, and the cool thing is as well that we can actually print these as a PDF document. So if we go up here to the 3 little lines here where it says document menu, click on those 3 lines and we go to print. You may be able to print from here as well, up the top here, or you can download the document as a PDF and you can see page 1 and page 2 there with all your parts on it. Okay, so that's how to make a drawing on Onshape, how to print that out and how to use that to construct a job, hopefully with all the measurements and parts that you need on it. I'd like to see you guys with your progress here, showing me your pictures of your documents as well, your pictures on your progress report. All right, that's all for me. I'll see you in my next video.